Favorite memories. That's all I have these days. Well, this, I suppose, is a memory. We're creating history now. But don't tell the people who are publishing my papers that they're making a record of it, so now they're going to have to publish this in a new volume. Never mind. It gets very confusing if you try that.
Well, we're working on the Revolutionary War series here in this room, so maybe some of your most poignant memories from the American Revolution.
So very different from favorite memories. I have very, very few positive memories from the American Revolution. You know, speaking of memories of the American Revolution, I've heard that there is yet again a theatrical musical production depicting events of my lifetime of the Revolution that has made itself famous, much to my chagrin, in the name of a gentleman who I would rather not mention. But it seems to depict me as having missed, how did he put it, the late 80s. And many of those who enjoy this production seem to gain an impression, it is allowed to be a lacuna in it, I suppose, but that I was absent through the Revolution, when I did not leave for France until after the Revolution. It is, I suppose it is implying that I was simply gone for the entire creation of the nation, showed up as a Johnny-come-lately, and then decided I wanted to put my 2 shillings worth in. I am not surprised, though, that such a rumor is being spread about me by Hamilton. Well, favorite memories and Revolutionary War memories. Let us see here. Of the Revolution, when I was tasked with the writing of the Declaration of Independence, this is another circumstance I found rumors spread about me, that were it not from my own memory and my having written it down and having faithful individuals such as you also laboring in order to record that for any who have patience enough to actually read it, which seems to be rarer and rarer these days. I worked alone on the Declaration for about 2.5 weeks. I have just been reading a publication, I will leave the individual's name a blank here, who this particular individual and others of his ilk seem to be attempting to tell a story that I did not write it alone at first and then have it ruined by Congress, but rather I was working, John Adams took much of the lead in it, because it was a committee, but many of you perhaps had to write for committees in which you've been saddled with the bulk of the task, yet everyone gains the credit for it, or others gain the credit for it. Well, I'm not disparaging Mr. Adams, and certainly not Dr. Franklin, and not Mr. Sherman Livingston, but I did work alone on it, and one of my most distinct memories, it seems to have been altered by, I've noted a number of my likenesses about grounds here. They're very noble, stoic as stone often is by its nature. And perhaps one might assume from that my writing of this document, and I find this in my discussions with individuals throughout the United States in my travels, would believe that from these visages, from these depictions of my life, that my writing of it may have been something akin to the climbing of Mount Sinai and the reception of stone tablets from the inflamed bush, or rather something I was eager to do because of the fame of the matter. Mr. Adams did lament the fame that I gained from it later on, but he lamented a lot of things, volubly. But I didn't want to do it. This is perhaps not of the favorite memories, but a distinct memory. I remember very distinctly how much I did not want to write it, how much I wanted to go home. My wife was very ill at the time, and I didn't even know what it was she'd come down with. No one was writing to me. I had been gone for weeks by that point. All the important work was happening in Virginia, because that's the point of the Revolution, was to have the states create their own constitutions. We would be free and independent. And I was stuck in Philadelphia, and I distinctly remember viewing the document as being yet another one of the frustrating diplomatic formalities that I had been called to write. The drudgery. I'm certain that none of you can relate with this in your particular profession, the drudgery of day-to-day writing, feeling as though you are in the morning beginning to push the stone up the hill, in the evening have to watch it roll down in front of you, and wondering at all why you plod along in such a way if you seem to be making such little progress. And each day it seems like the same stone, even though it is a different page, it is a different letter, but yet it seems like the same stone. That is what this was to me. I did not want to do it. It was just a formality. It wasn't the important thing. I remember getting into an argument with John Adams about it, as a matter of fact. Have you ever met John Adams? I know you have met Mr. Adams, yes. You've traveled south and the ladies met him. If you can, avoid arguing with him. He enjoys it so. I have seen, it seems to be his estrum, his means of breathing and partaking of sustenance. I have been in, and one can, as I've seen others do this, so one can be in a conversation with John Adams for half an hour in which one agrees with him thoroughly. And yet at the end of the half an hour you feel like you just had a half an hour argument. But you actually agree with him. It's just how he communicates. I know not whether or not he and Mrs. Adams communicate this way, but she can hold her own when she has an opinion. She would let it be known. I learned that in France. So I lost the argument. That's what all that was for. He made me do it. It's John Adams' fault that I wrote the Declaration of Independence. He should take some credit for that, some pride for that. Instead, he laments that monuments will be built to me and none to him. But of course, I tell him, don't you worry. Eventually, someday, you'll have a monument. Yes, he does, right? Oh dear, don't tell him that. Well, then he's on some currency. He would enjoy that. No. Perhaps they'll have a musical theatrical production about him someday. Oh, good. There's one about him. Good. One about him. Good. I'm certain that he gets short shrift in Mr. Hamilton's production, if he appears at all. Yes.